Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev.
Mataji Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dhanvat Pranam, Mata Jai Srila Prabhupada. We can start now.
Yes, Prabhuji already left a message that we have started, so another reminder. I just gave one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dhanvat Pranam, Mata.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञातमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टाप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. So we are reading from or continuing our discussion. कौन सी बात है? गति करनी है.
Nothing like that. I just want to ask this question. जो भी पढ़े हैं मुझे माया जाना था तो फिर आने के बाद दूसरे हाथ करके रखना है वो चलेगा या नहीं चलेगा?
चलेगा.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So we are discussing the conversation between further conversation between Manu and Kardama Muni. This conversation is going on between Vidur and Maitreya, which was described by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and which is now repeated by Sutta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. So first we saw, tomorrow is Varahadev appearance. So we saw the Varahadev pastime. After Varahadev pastime was over, there was a further study. One will become free and receive, free from unwanted habits and receive complete mercy of the Lord. And then Sutta Goswami fell silent. Then Saunak Rishi, this is the last chapter. Saunak Rishi asked When the great sages, when the great saint like Vidura and Maitreya are conversing, there must be some more topics that would have come about. Can you tell us about those topics? Because we don't get tired of hearing. We want to keep hearing more and more and more about Harikatha. Also tell us about, you mentioned about Brahma creating up to 4 Kumaras, the sages Manu. Up to Manu, 4 Kumaras created Manu. You mentioned till that point. But how did Brahma create the remaining living entities? How did it expanded and how the universe was populated? Then last chapter was dedicated to that portion of how Brahma created various living entities. We saw um, um, uh, Rakshasas from like twilight, Devatas from the shine of Brahma, and we saw various uh, um, Rakshasas from the buttock of Brahma. In this way, um, demons from the buttock of Brahma, Devatas from the shine of Brahma, from the shadow of Brahma were Yakshas and Rakshasas. Then when Brahma was lazy and tired, then from there came Bhutas and Pishachas. And we saw various things how the other kind of living entities were created by Brahma. Um, uh, then um, um, Shaunak Rishi were eager. Shaunak Rishi was the leader, and he and all the saints were eager to hear from Sutta Goswami. What other conversation happened between uh, Vidura and Maitreya Muni? Um, so the next conversation that happens between them is Vidura made some inquiry. Now we are going back to bank of Ganges, Haridwar, and there Maitreya Muni was in his hermitage, and Vidura is sitting on the ground, and Vidura is making some inquiries, and Maitreya Muni is asking. So there Vidura asked, yeah, please describe about the glorious dynasty of Manu. So now Brahmaji described till Manu, and then Brahmaji described about all living entities, how they came from Brahma, from which part of the Brahma other living entities came. So now Vidura wants to hear specifically about Manu. What about his progeny? What happened to them? Um, um, how did Swambhuva Manu, from Swambhuva Manu came, he is the sort, like Manu is, the word man comes from Manuna. All the living entities were created from Swambhuva Manu. So how did that human population, human-like population, from Manu, how did that grow? Because Brahma described how different kind of living entities were created. And at the end, Manu was created, and like Bhutas, Pishachas, demons, Rakshasas, Apsaras, Gandharvas, all these were created. And then Manu was like a perfect living entity. So how did, and now there are so many people like Manu. So how did Manu, from how did that happen that so many mm, men, which is basically male and female, so many are there. How did it happen through Manu? Um, um, this is Vidura's inquiry. So that's why the name of this chapter, or not the name, but a major of it is the dynasty of Swambhuva Manu. This is the new section of Bhagavatam which is starting now. And there comes Devahuti, and many others will come. Vidura also knew that Manu had two sons. They were Maharaj Priyavrata and Uttanapad. Um, this comes, Uttanapad Maharaj will come in the next canto. and Priyavrat Maharaj will come in the 5th canto beginning, and this canto Devahuti. But the question is being asked now. The answer is gonna continue for almost more than 1.5 cantos. Um, they are all Manu's dynasty, whether it's Dhruva or Lord Kapila, Devahuti, Priyavrat Maharaj, and then the descendant of Priyavrat Maharaj will come. All this is the root. Tell us about the dynasty of Sambhavan, everything about that dynasty. Then we heard Uttanapad and Priyavrat Maharaj. Later on, they would rule the earth. How did they rule the earth with its 7 continents? Actually, it's not easy to rule even a small thing. It's not easy. In a small company, it's not easy to manage. And the whole earth with 7 continents. People who are taking care of a small countries are bogged down actually. What to speak about all the 7 continents? How did they protect the earth, rule the earth? Vidura says, I have also heard that Manu has a famous daughter whose name was Devahuti. She was married to Kardamba. How many offsprings did the yogi, which is Kardama Muni, begot through her? And what about Ruchi and Daksha? Ruchi and Daksha, they will come in future. Ruchi and Daksha will also come. They were sons of Brahma sages. How did Ruchi and Daksha um, uh, create progeny? And Ruchi and Daksha were actually married to 2 daughters of Swambhuva Manu. Swambhuva Manu has 3 daughters, Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. And Devahuti was married to Kardama Muni, Akuti was married to Ruchi, Prasuti was married to Daksha. Tell us about the progeny of Devahuti and Kardama, Ruchi and Akuti, Daksha and Prasuti. And further the progeny of Devahuti and further over there. So the whole dynasty about Priyavrat Maharaj, about Uttanapad. So we will see in future, and there will be description of Ruchi, Daksha, Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti, Kardama, their progeny, Priyavrat, Uttanapad, their progeny. Everything is going to come now because he wanted to know about the entire dynasty of Swambhuva Manu. So Maitreya first begins with Devahuti and Kardama. One by one, Maitreya Muni will take and speak on those. So Maitreya Muni starts beginning with how Kardama Muni, he was given an instruction by his father Brahma to produce progeny, populate the universe. Naturally, Brahma was giving this instruction to everyone. So Kardama Muni, he went for performing austerities. He performed austerities for 10,000 years. We see this is the tradition, culture that time. We see even when Daksha Prajapati, we hear later on it will come. He gave birth to 10,000 sons, then he gave to 1,000, then he gave birth to 1,000 sons, and he sent all of them for performing austerities. This was a tradition actually. It is mentioned um, in Satya Yuga, austerity was like the limb of dharma, which later on was broken. Austerity was prominent in Satya Yuga, and the process was meditation. And dharma has 4 limbs now, 4 limbs of dharma. One is austerity, truthfulness, um, cleanliness, mercy. These are the 4 uh, 4 limbs of dharma. And Treta Yuga, the austerity limb is broken. And likewise, now only truthfulness remains in Kali Yuga, that is also broken actually. So everybody would perform austerity that time. So Kadava Muni, after hearing this instruction from Brahma, he went and performed austerity. But Kadava Muni austerity was mixed with devotion, very severe, but he would remember the Lord. He was doing austerity and remembering. And actually Kadava Muni became purified through that, fully purified. And he developed love for the Lord actually. Very deep devotion he developed Kadava Muni through constant remembrance and severe austerities. Other personality who performed similar is Dhruva Maharaj. He performed austerity and mixed with devotion. Um, and Kadava Muni also, it is said, he attained worship through devotional service in trance. Samadhi mein chale gaye the wo, Kadava Muni. And Lord became very pleased. But somehow Kadava Muni performed austerity for 10,000 years. Dhruv Maharaj, Kadava Muni saw the Lord. Dhruv Maharaj also saw the Lord. Dhruv Maharaj saw the Lord in 6 months. Kadava Muni saw the Lord in 10,000 years. Lord, that's why one of the quality of Lord is inconceivable. Wherever, whatever Lord wants, Lord does. Uh, Although both were pure souls. So the Lord became very pleased. Then Lord gave darshan to, Lord came, appeared to Kardama Muni. Uh, he showed his form to Kardama Muni. That form could be understood only through the Vedas. We cannot understand the form of the Lord. How can we understand the form of the Lord? We have forgotten the Lord. So how can we understand? But if the Vedas describe he is bluish complexion, he is a Kaustuba jewel, he wears a yellow garments, he has a lotus eyes, black curly hairs around his ears. And when we hear that, then we're like, oh, that's how the Lord looks. That's how our pictures or our deities are designed. So the Lord can be understood only through the Vedas, and he showed his personal form to Kadava Muni, who performed austerities for 10,000 years. So what did Kadava Muni see? He saw the Lord was as effulgent as the sun. The Lord was in silk yellow garment. His face was surrounded by dark locks of hair, um, like see bluish complexion, shiny and dark shiny hairs. Um, um, Yellow silk garment, wearing a uttari also, and the Lord was wearing garland, and the garland were all white. They were mix of white lotuses and white lilies. See, sometimes the Lord appears in multicolor garland, like it is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Vaijayanti Chamalam. It comes in Venugit. That when the gopis were thinking, then Krishna appeared along with Balaram and all the cowherd boys, and Krishna was wearing Vaijayanti garland. Jiva Goswami describes Vaijayanti garland is like there is red, there is pink, there is yellow, there is white. So in this there are 5 colors and multicolor garland Krishna was wearing. And the Lord is naturally dressed every day. So whenever the Lord is called, the Lord comes in his form the way he is dressed on that day. Um, he is a person, and whichever day somebody calls, he goes, and however he is dressed, that's a different description of the Lord. So here the garland is white lotuses and white lilies. This is also interesting. Then he was wearing earrings. The Lord had on his ears. The Lord has a crown. It is said Krishna wears turbans. Narayan wears crown. So adorned there was crown and earrings. The Lord had 4 hands. He had a smiling glance, uh, which would captivate the heart of his devotees. When he was looking at Kadama, Kadama was captivated by the smiling glance of the Lord. And the 4 hands were holding, one is holding conch, one is holding chakra, one is holding gada, and one is holding white lily. Sometimes the description is that the Lord holds white lotus. The Lord hold lotus. It can be any color. But today the Lord was holding white lily flower. Then on his chest the Lord has the Srivatsa mark. And the Lord has underneath the garland he has this necklace with the pendant of Kaustuba jewel. The Lord was in the air, standing in the air on the back of Garuda. His feet were placed on the shoulders of Garuda. But just like we see the picture, Garuda is like flapping his wings, looking at Kadava Muni, and the Lord is above with his four hands standing, having a affectionate, smiling glance at Kadava Muni. When the Kadava Muni saw the Lord, he became extremely joyful. All his desires were fulfilled. He has natural love and affection for the Lord that he has attained through his um, devotional austerities. As soon as Kadava Muni saw the Lord, he offered his sashtang obeisances, dandavat pranams, and Kadava Muni immediately, the Lord, he immediately folded his hands and he started offering prayers to Lord. Kadava Muni said that, my Lord, my eyes have become successful by seeing this form of yours. Advanced yogis who are practicing yoga practices for many, many lifetimes, they even hardly get a chance to see, and this beautiful form was standing in front of me. Um, Taking shelter of these lotus feet, Kadamunis. Now he was looking at the Lord and he looked at the feet of the Lord, which was standing on the shoulder of Garuda. Uh, Kadavamuni said, these lotus, this anybody who can take shelter of these lotus feet, they can cross over this ocean of material existence. This verse is also, similar verse is also spoken by Avanti Brahmana when he was mistreated by the general public, spat upon, urinated, many um, beaten, many like very severely he was treated actually. Very bad treatment he was given, Avanti Brahmana. But Avanti Brahman would remember, my Lord, by taking shelter of your lotus feet, I will cross over the cycle of birth and death. Yesterday we were discussing, Srila Prabhupada says that we should have a pessimistic view about this world. Pessimistic view means should not think that life is comfortable and things may go like this. Pessimistic view means um, pessimistic view is realistic view, and realistic view about this world is everything here leads to dukkha, and every joy is temporary, shashvat. And as Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punavartino Arjuna, every place starting from topmost planet, lower planet is um, full of suffering because um, every place there is repeated birth and death. At every planet there is repeated, there is a cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. And naturally, death of oneself or of one connected to us, everything is very painful. There is disease. So in this way, every place is designed to suffer eventually. And the happiness here also leads to suffering. So this is realistic view. This is Krishna's view, um, or how Krishna has designed this. Avanti Brahman was also having this very kind of, he just wanted to go beyond this material existence and go to the Lord's abode. So he says, anybody who takes shelter of a lotus feet, no matter how I am treated, by taking shelter of a lotus feet, I will surely cross over the cycle of birth and death. And Yakadamuni is telling, my Lord, by taking shelter of these feet, anyone can cross over this ignorance of material existence. But although your feet can provide that, there are certain less intelligent people who worship those feet to achieve some cheap material things. But you are so kind that you bestow your mercy even upon them. And my Lord, I am one of such people who is worshipping you for some material desire. I am also like them. I have a desire to marry a girl of like disposition. Uh, then the Lord may ask, if you know that anybody who takes shelter of my lotus feet can cross over the cycle of birth and death, then why are you desiring to marry a girl of like disposition? So Kadavamuni answers and he says, my Lord, I am bound by the instructions of my father Brahma. And whatever instruction he gave me, because Brahma When Kadava Muni was born, Brahma told him to populate, procreate, and he went to perform austerities. But during the austerity, he became pure devotee, and that desire went off. But still, he was bound by the order of his father, and he was meditating on the kind of girl he wants, with whom he can populate the universe or procreate further. And then when the Lord appears, he says, "My Lord, one should take shelter of you to cross over the cycle of birth and death. But there are less intelligent people who take shelter of you out of some cheap material desires. And I am one such people. Um, I am bound by the instruction of Brahma. And whatever instruction Brahma is giving is actually your instruction." Mm. This is actually true. Brahma is like a guru also. And whatever guru tells us to do is actually Krishna's desire. Mm. And so it is said that one should not be attached to even spiritual pleasure if it goes against the will of Guru. This is a very important point. Srila Prabhupada says, living in Vrindavan is sense gratification for me. Why? Because my Guru Maharaj has given me this order to go to the Western world and preach in English language. So Prabhupada has this responsibility given by his Guru. And because he has this unfulfilled task of his Guru, for Srila Prabhupada, living in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar Mandir, at the fag end of his life, doing his sadhana, reading Shastras, was sense gratification for Prabhupada. Because it seems very comfortable, nice, everything is nice, let me enjoy. So Prabhupada said that is sense gratification. My Guru Maharaj also says, Radhanath Maharaj says, if we are doing even devotional service, neglecting the order of Guru, then that devotional service is also like sense gratification. Like I am doing it because I like to do, but Guru wants me to do something else. So Kadava Muni has no desire, but Kadava Muni has received this instruction from his father and Guru. Father is the first Guru, na? Especially when the father is self-realized. So even Bhakti Vinod Thakur gave many instructions to Saraswati Thakur. When Bhakti Vinod Thakur was departing, he told Saraswati Thakur that establish Navadvip further. Bhaktivinoda Thakur found many places. After that, Saraswati Thakur built the road to Mayapur, did further construction, found further places. So further it continued, and now his owner Jayapadaka Maharaj is further expanding Navadvip and finding newer places of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wanted to go to Vrindavan. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in his dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and told Bhaktivinoda Thakur, "My dear Thakur ji, आप तो वृंदावन जा रहे हो. What about service to me?" So Bhaktivinoda Thakur understood that Lord doesn't want me to go to Vrindavan. Rather, Lord wants me to serve him. And that's when Bhaktivinoda Thakur decided to transfer to Navadvip area from Kolkata. So he went to Navadvip, started living there, and then he found the birthplace. Yahi Mahaprabhu the Janmasthan. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, with the help of Janadas Babaji Maharaj, found the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So more important is Seva. Um, so Kadabam, but the natural now, the Lord won't appear and reciprocate with Kadava Muni if Kadava Muni is having only material desires. Actually, there was a full deep devotion, um, but there is order. So he said, "I'm bound by the instructions of my father." And that instruction is ultimately coming from you only, my Lord. Um, but Kadava Muni's humility, although he doesn't have such a desire, he still wanted it because he know that this I want to do because he wanted it because his father told him, but he was feeling I want it because it is my material desire. Actually, he wanted it because his father wanted him to do, but he was feeling I want it because it is my material desire. So it is said that a devotee is very eager to find little bit and see that as a fault and condemn himself. So Kadamuni is telling, I am that cheap materialist who is actually asking you and worshipping you only to get married. Obviously, it's out of pure devotion. But that's how he feels. That's why Kadamba Muni, even when he was married to Devahuti, Kadamba Muni did not had any children for years, decades, ages past. And Devahuti came and Kadamba Muni has no desire. Devahuti came and she said, I am a woman. Child to dena hai na aapko. Then he had to create this aerial mansion to induce the passion which is required to give a child to Devahuti. That shows how much deep sattva already it is Satya Yuga, which is full of sattva. And on the top there is this saint who has performed 10,000 years of devotional service. So thickly situated in sattva, Kardama Muni. Yeah. But taking a humble position, he says, Kadamuni says, people who surrender to you and take shelter, they have no material desire. They take shelter of your lotus feet without material desire, they become liberated. And Kadamuni also says how people take shelter of your lotus feet. Like, for example, we know that we should take shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. Anybody who takes shelter of lotus feet of Krishna will cross over this material existence as easily as crossing over water contained in a hoof print of a calf. How easy it is to cross over. The amount of the few drops of water contained in a footprint of a calf. So that much easy it becomes if somebody takes shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. And Kadavamuni says, people take shelter of your lotus feet by discussing Krishna Katha. By discussing about the Lord, by glorifying the Lord, hearing the glories of the Lord, chanting the names of the Lord, this itself is like taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And through this Shravanam Kirtanam, that's what Mahaprabhu came to give. Through this process, it is said, this is sweet and intoxicating, this process. And through this process, one will be freed from all bodily um, um, inconveniences. Um, um, anyways, one will be freed from all um, anything material, basically, and will become liberated. But my Lord, um, I am a cheap materialist and I have this desire. Um, then Kadavamuni further prays. Kadavamuni says the quality of a devotee is time does not affect the devotees. Although the time cut short the lifespan of the entire creation, everybody lifespan is cut short by time. But devotees, time does not affect the devotees. Devotees are beyond time. How is it devotees are beyond time? Devotees are beyond time because Jiva is eternal. Prabhupada says the soul is eternal, Krishna is eternal, and the bhakti is eternal. And when bhakti is in the center, bhakti continues till the end. The more one become old, actually bhakti keeps growing. And if does not retain perfection, next life again bhakti grows further. So bhakti just keeps on going more and more, deeper and deeper and deeper. So time does not impact devotional service. Devotion continues. Physical body may die, a new physical body may come. But if you see the jiva is continuing to grow. So everything is cut short, but devotees are not affected by time. Their skill is always upgoing in their devotional service. And that's all they want. Devotees means they only want devotional service. And it's always keep on increasing. So they're not affected by time. Um, Kadamuni compares the time to a wheel which is moving very fast. And he says, and the wheel has spokes, 13 spokes, and these are like 13 months, which is 12 months plus one Adhik Mas. So in this way, when the wheel is moving, these months are passing. And there are many joints. And these are 360 joints. They represent 360 days and nights. Um, there is rim, and there are 6 seasons on the rim, unlimited seconds on the edges. There are seasons, 3 groups of 4 months, um, mm, and this wheel is moving with great velocity. And this is the wheel of time, and this wheel is cutting short the lifespan of the entire creation. But the devotees are not affected; they just keep on increasing in their devotion. Then he further glorifies the Lord. Basically, Kadava Muni is seeing the Lord and he's glorifying the Lord, and he's telling my Lord, just like the spider, he uh, through his saliva creates the cobweb, and whenever he likes, he just sucks that saliva inside him, and then he winds up. I actually have seen. One time I was going for a morning japa walk. It was by the river, and the river has this. It was by the river, and this there was a bridge, and over the bridge there was a railing, and the railing was full of cobwebs actually. And I saw one place, one particular big, huge cobweb, and he was sucking the saliva in that thread. He was taking it in, and he was actually winding up everything. So I'm like, oh, first time I saw actually he was winding. I've seen spider creating it, but this time I saw him winding it also. So here the example is just like a spider creates the cobweb by his own energy and winds it up when he likes. Likewise, my Lord, you create the universe when you like, and then you destroy them when you like. Lord brings the universes out, and Lord takes them in, and Lord maintain them when he likes. Just like a spider put the web, and then he keeps it for some time, and then he winds up and then goes away. The Lord also does the same thing. Um, then Kardama Muni says, why you have created this material? Why Krishna has to create this universe? Then he says, although my Lord, it is not your desire, still you create this universe just for our sensual satisfaction. So why Krishna has to create it? Krishna creates it because it is our desire that we want to have independent enjoyment. And Krishna wants to give us a chance. All right. And then Krishna creates everything for our sensual enjoyment. Although he doesn't desire. He desires there is no need of material existence. You all come and serve me. But because of our sensual satisfaction, the Lord creates it. Then the prayer ends by further he offer further obeisances to the lotus feet of the Lord. And he says, my Lord, your lotus feet are worthy of taking shelter. Um, And although you are creating this universe for the sensual satisfaction of the living entity, one can become detached. One can, while living in this material world, although one may be full of desire for sensual satisfaction, one can, you give them detachment to everything, to all such desires by realizing you. So, although we are bound in this material existence with so many desires, attachments, or whatever, or anarthas, with whatever we have. Now we are bound up, and we can be freed from everything by realizing the Lord back. Once we realize the Lord back, we go back to Him. Okay. So now those were some of the prayers. Basically, Kadamba Muni glorified the Lord as the creator, maintainer, destroyer. Um, he creates it. His lotus feet are worth taking shelter of. Through that, one can cross over this nascence of material existence. And through realizing the Lord, one can develop detachment from this material existence. In this way, some prayers were offered. Then Kadava Muni, in the end, he paid his further obeisances to the Lord, standing with folded hand. The Lord was very pleased. Lord smiled, affectionate glance onto Kadava Muni, and then the Lord spoke as follows. The Lord said, my dear Muni, my dear Rishi, my dear Kadamba, I already know I am sitting in the heart of all living entities. I already know your heart's desire. And so I have already arranged a suitable bride for you. People like you who are steep in devotion, who always serve me with devotion, their desires are never frustrated. Actually, materialistic people, their desires may or may not get sanctioned based on karma. Sometimes the Lord may fulfill, sometimes the Lord may not. But here the Lord Himself is telling to Kardava Muni, those who are steep in devotion to me, their desires are never frustrated, or every desire is fulfilled. And we see that Srila Prabhupada, we hear how Srila Prabhupada's every desire was fulfilled. Whatever Prabhupada wanted happened. Same thing with Narad Muni and other saints. Whatever they desire, their desires of those who are steep in devotion are never frustrated. Then the Lord said about Swambhuva Manu. See, the Lord is speaking about Swambhuva Manu. Swambhuva Manu also a pure devotee. The Lord says Swambhuva Manu, he is always following Dharma perfectly. He is living in Brahmavarta. He is currently ruling the earth with its 7 oceans. Day after tomorrow, he's a great king. He's ruling, um, fully dharmic and my devotee also. He will come along with this queen Satarupa day after tomorrow. Their husband wife will come. They also have a daughter. She is very beautiful. She is very qualified. She is grown up and is of a marriageable age. So both husband wife will come along with the daughter, and they will um, they will deliver her to you right here. She will be just the type you have been thinking of in your heart for all these long years. Actually, Kadamba Muni, steep in devotion. At the same time, he has this instruction in his mind also. He want to populate, and so he has a desire of what kind of girl he would like, with whom he would like to populate this universe. So whatever was within the heart of Kardama, whatever type of girl was within the heart of Kardama Muni, she is exactly that. Um, she will be just the type you have been thinking of in your heart for all these long years. So, however, whenever a devotee prays deeply within the heart, something the Lord will manifest exactly that in in reality. She will soon be yours. आपकी हो जाएंगी वो. And she will serve you to your heart's content. However you want to be served, uh, it is the duty of wife to serve the husband. So she will serve you to your heart's content. वो ऐसा किए एक्चुअली दिल खोल के देवाहुति मैया सेवा किए कदवा मुनि का. That's how Kadamba Muni was very pleased, and he says, whatever you want, ask now. Uh, Devahuti, and this Lord does not take her name actually. Lord says the daughter of Swambhuva Manu and Satarupa. She will bring forth 9 daughters. These 9 daughters will marry to the sages and the sons of Brahma, and they all will beget children through them. And Brahmaji was also praying that, my Lord, please be merciful unto me. I have this one desire. I am a materialist. Please show your real mercy. Your real mercy is shelter of your lotus feet. And through that, one can cross over the ocean of birth and death. And that shelter of lotus feet can be attained to Harikatha. And that shelter of your lotus feet awards liberation. For that only, and devotees worship you. But I am a materialist, and this is my desires. My Lord, please, I also need your full mercy. So this was the sum and substance of Kadra Muni's prayer. So the Lord says that you will attain me. Um, you carry out my instructions of marrying her 9 daughters, son, um, marry the daughters to the sages. In this way, you populate. You carry out my instructions, and uh, through this process, your heart will become cleansed. Whatever you do it as an offering to me, and then you will take sannyas. Um, and yeah, finally you will attain me. The Lord give this, that your desire to have like cross over the cycle of birth and death, attain my abode Vaikuntha planets will be uh, will will be fulfilled. You will attain me. um, As a householder, you show compassion to all, and as a sannyasi, you give fearlessness to all. Actually, householder is the one responsible for maintaining everybody. Prabhupada says only householder they work. So they have this responsibility. Whether it is brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyas, none of them, all of them are used in service of the Lord, or performing austerity or sharing the message one way or the other. So it is a duty of householder maintenance. And householder should show compassion to all. That's why it is said anybody is hungry, the householder should provide, take care of the society. So as a householder, you show compassion to all. And as sannyasi, you give fearlessness to all. Prabhupada says one of the quality of sannyasi is fearlessness. Why? Because sannyasi has to go to the forest where there are wild animals and dark night and so many ups and downs, but the sannyasi has to keep going. So one of the quality of sannyasi is fearless. Because a sannyasi fully understands that Krishna is in control. Through everything, Krishna is in control. That's the sannyasi's faith. Because he has that fearlessness within his heart, he should give fearlessness to others. So as sannyasi, you do that. As grihastha, you show compassion to all living entity. Do everything as an offering to me. Yat karosi, I mean, this Krishna also says, na Bhagavad, yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat juhosi tadasi, yat tapasvasi kauntaya, tat kuru madarpana. Whatever you do, offer, give away, do it as an offering to me. So you follow my instructions, remembering me as a householder, showing compassion to all, taking sannyas, giving fearlessness, then do everything as an offering to me. Keep me in the center of everything you do. And whatever good or bad, keep it offering it back to me and use it for my service. In this way, gradually, you will realize that you, along with the entire universe, is within me as Mahavishnu. And I am present in everybody's heart as Shirodakshai Vishnu. Basically, you will see that everything is within me and I am within everything. And in this way, basically, the realization, Kadava Muni is predicting what will happen. That eventually Kadava Muni will see the Lord everywhere. He will see the Lord in all living entities. And he will see that how this whole universe is also the form of the Lord. How Kadava Muni will eventually see the Lord everywhere. Or he becomes fully Krishna conscious and will go back. And after the 9 daughters, then I will manifest myself as my plenary portion through you and Devahuti. And I shall instruct her in the system of philosophy, which is Sankhya Yoga. uh, Tattva Samhita. I will instruct her in that philosophy. And saying this, the Lord departs. So Lord came. Lord told what will happen. Lord said, your desires, because you are a devotee, a deep devotion, your desire will never be frustrated. The kind of girl you are aspiring for is already arranged. That girl will come to you along with the parents, and parents will hand over the girl to you. She is just the type you have been meditating since these long years. She will serve you to your heart's content. Through her, you will beget 9 daughters who will be given to the sages. Mm. And then I will appear myself as the plenary portion. My plenary portion will appear through both of you, and I will personally instruct her in this philosophy by which she will attain liberation. And then you, during the time you are in household, show compassion to all living entities, and then exhibit fearlessness, which is the renounced order you take. You do everything as an offering to me, keep me in the center of everything you do. And gradually, by following my instruction, your heart will be cleansed. And mm, and once your heart is cleansed, and you do everything as an offering to me, gradually you will be able to see me everywhere, and you will be able to see everything within. Then saying this, the Lord departed from Bindu Sarovar. It was actually on the bank of Kardama Muni was standing on the bank of river Saraswati. And there was a small, like a ghat, like a pond there, which is connected to Saraswati. And there the Lord came. Um, the Lord revealed himself to Kardama Muni, and then the Lord departed. The sage was, Kardama Muni was looking. The Lord was, um, Lord started flying back. Lord was looking, and Garuda was like again going back up back towards Vaikuntha. And Garuda turned around and then started going back to Vaikuntha. Garuda was flapping his wings, and through the flapping of Garuda's wings, Sam Ved were getting vibrated. So see, Garuda, he flapped the wing, and Kadamuni was listening Sam Ved. Uh, Naturally, these Ved mantras are very peaceful and very divine, have divine potency, and they are Garuda through his flapping of wing, very peaceful environment. The Lord is going away. Uh, Kadamuni is listening to these wonderful uh, Ved Ucharan through the flapping of Garuda's wings. Then Kadavamuni knew that in day after tomorrow Manu will come. So he waited on the bank of Bindu Sarovar. Then 2 days passed by. Then Swambhuva Manu, as predicted by the Lord, Swambhuva Manu was traveling all over the earth, and he arrived on the predicted day at the hermitage of Kadava Muni, along with his wife Satarupa and his daughter. Um, he arrived at Bindu Sarovar, Swambhuva Manu, with his family. He didn't bring all the family members, just father, mother, and daughter. Sons and other daughters were not there. He arrived at Bindu Sarovar, and Bindu Sarovar is described as mixed with the tears of the Lord. When the Lord came, the Lord was overwhelmed by seeing the surrender of Kardama, 10,000 years. When the Lord saw Kardama Muni, tears fell from the eyes of the Lord that got mixed into that lake of Bindusar. So it has that divine potency, Bindusar. So uh, Manu came there on the shore of the lake. Then there is a description of the lake. That because the Lord appeared there, everything became very pious there. The shore of the lake was surrounded by pious trees and creepers, which were rich in flowers and fruits of all seasons. And those flowers, fruits, creepers, and trees were giving shelter to birds, animals, and others. Um, the birds were overjoyed flying there. The bees were intoxicated in devotion. The peacocks were dancing proudly in an intoxicated state. And the cuckoos were calling one another, cuckoo, cuckoo. So it was very cheerful environment by the lake. There, the trees were of very pious trees, like Kadamba tree were growing, Champaka trees with flowers, Ashoka tree with flower, Bakula trees with flowers, um, young mango trees with flowers. There were various birds flying around, and there were chakravakas, swans, cranes, um, chakoras. These are all, they are mentioned in many places in the scripture in Bhagavatam. In 10th Canto also they all come. So there were these Bindu Sarovar, beautiful lake, uh, beautiful birds chirping, peacock dancing, bees intoxicated, birds were overjoyed, all fruits and flowers, everything very rich. So, and there were various animals there who were also in goodness. Although by nature they are not, but there were monkeys also in goodness, mongoose, musk deers, porcupines, boars, deers, elephants, lions, and they all were also around. So the sage came. It was completely sattva. So sage came with his wife and daughter. The sage came and entered the ashram of Kardamba, and Kadamba Muni entered the ashram. Kadamba Muni was just about to begin a fire sacrifice for this like pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Was about to begin, and the Manu, the king, Manu was the king. He entered and he saw Kadamba Muni. He was about to start the fire sacrifice, and Kadamba Muni's body was shining. First, his own natural effulgence, and also he was doing fire yagya. So his body was shining. His body didn't look emaciated. Usually, sages, because of so much austerity, 10,000 years austerity, Kadamba Muni did, and so many did so much austerity, the body becomes emaciated. But his body didn't look emaciated because of the Lord's affectionate glance, because the Lord looked at Kadamba and Kadamba regained full health that time. Um, so didn't look emaciated because of Lord's affectionate glance. Kadamba Muni body, and it is said for two reasons Kadamba Muni regained his full health. One was the glance of the Lord, and one was hearing the nectar flowing from the uh, moon-like words of the Lord. When the Lord was speaking, that was so nourishing, and regaining, kind of recuperating for Kadamba, just the words and the glance, and through that Kadamba Muni gained full health. Kadamba Muni was tall, his eyes were like lotuses, but his hairs were long and matted, and his cloth were tattered, like bikhra hua tha kapda. I mean, they naturally, um, they don't, yeah, they're not concerned on their appearance. He appeared soiled, I mean, dust laga hua tha aspas, like an unpolished gem. So inside, through his eyes, it was visible that his self-realization was like as a imperfection. But still, he looked like dusty, like an unpolished gem. It's a gem, but little dust around, not polished fully. So Manu could see Kadamba Muni and he could understand. Manu was also a pure devotee. So seeing, and Manu came and he is the king actually. Manu came and he bowed down to Kardama Muni. Um, Kardama Muni received Manu with due honor, and he just he picked Manu up. Manu did not say anything first. Then Kadamba Muni remembered the Lord's words that the Lord said Manu will come with his daughter and his wife. So he was remembering. So Kadamba Muni started speaking. Manu just came. He looked at Kadamba Muni. He could see within how great personality Kadamba is. He paid his obeisances. Manu picked him up. And Manu didn't say anything. He was just looking at the saint. And the saint Kadamba, he started to speak. 2 more minutes. Um, then the sage started glorifying Manu. The sage says, "My dear Manu, um, um, you embody the protecting energy of Lord Hari because you travel to protect the virtuous and kill the demons. This is the role of the king. They travel, and wherever there are saintly people, they encourage them, they protect them, the virtuous people. And those, if they are being attacked or harmed or interfered by demons, then the king, because they are Kshatriyas, they kill them. So how that's how the Lord meant. This is the function of Lord. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. That's what the Lord does, and that's what the king also do. That's why there are kings. Some are going for sentence, jail, and some are promoted in a way. So that is the king's role, and that's why king is considered as representative of Shri Hari. They embody the protecting energy of Lord Shri Hari. Uh, then Manu is then the sage compared Manu to various devatas, like your majesty is like sun. Your you are like fire in invincibility, means nobody can defeat you. Like nobody can defeat fire. Likewise, you are invincible like fire. Your lordship and your opulence like Indra. Indra is like the king. Likewise, and like Vayu, you enter everywhere. Basically, the king Manu, he goes everywhere for the upkeep of the universe. So you enter everywhere like Vayu. Uh, like Yama, you punish the sinful. Um, Whoever is like, we see Parikshit Maharaj also. He saw Kali and he immediately wanted to punish and kill Kali. But Kali somehow surrendered that time. So you punish the sinful like Yama. Um, you protect the righteous like Dharma. Dharma rakshiti rakshata. Dharma protects those who follow Dharma. So likewise, you protect the righteous and those like Dharma protect the righteous. You do that. And you have deep and hidden treasures like Varuna, because Varuna treasure is, or his kingdom is deep into the ocean. Even Varahadev was looking, and it took many years for, not Varahadev, Hiranyaksha was looking to find Varuna. It took him many years to find that, the kingdom of Varuna. So you have deep and hidden treasures like Varuna. So in this way, you manifest the protecting energy of Sri Hari and all these devatas. Um, if you do not travel on the earth, the sage is telling to Manu, um, if you do not tour the earth like the brilliant sun with your chariot, bow, and army, if you do not tour the earth, then one ashram system established by the Lord will be destroyed by the rogues. Then all this adharma will increase, and all this ill-motivated people, they will destroy the whole one ashram. If you are the one who is keeping the upkeep, and same thing we hear when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, Samik Rishi. Uh, um, what was the name of that saint uh, um, who was garlanded by a snake?
Shringi?
Sh- Shringi was the son, I think.
Yeah, Saimik Rishi was
Shamik Rishi only, Prabhuji.
Uh,
Shamik was the name. What you said.
uh, So Samik Rishi also was when Shringi, thank you for that name. When Shringi cursed, then Samik Rishi was very much concerned because he knew the role of Parikshit Maharaj. He is like fire, he is like sun, he is like Sri Hari in protecting. He is like Vayu goes everywhere, protects everything. Majesty is like Indra and Surya. So like Dharma, he protects. So if Parikshit falls, if he dies, everything will be topsy-turvy. So he was very much concerned about the future. So in the similar lines, Kadamuni is glorifying Manu, Swambhuva Manu. And then he says, you are, in spite of all this, although you have such huge responsibility on your head, you have come here to my hermitage. um, I'm very grateful, King. Oh, King, you have come here to my hermitage. Whatever your purpose is, um, I shall carry out your desire without reservation. आप बोलो और मैं पूरा करूंगा. आप इतना कर रहे हो. You're doing so much. Um, your your contribution is so much. Your service to the Lord is so great and wonderful. Then anything you want to tell me, I'll do. Um, This also shows Kadavamuni natural humility. Na? It doesn't say that saint, the Lord has, I have seen the Lord himself came to me. You worship him. Na? He actually appeared to me and he was pleased with my austerities. That's why he came to me. And he told me everything why you have come here for. He didn't say that. A devotee never shows his devotional kind of success or whatever a devotee has got, devotee hide it, lock it in his heart, and feel as if it doesn't exist. That's the nature of devotee. So Kadavamuni is not showing his spiritual attainment and his interaction with the Lord, but he is telling, for whatever purpose you have come, I'll fulfill it without reservation. And he is glorifying Manu so much. So that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is the marriage of Kadavamuni with Devavati. Uh, Are there any question, any discussion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanma Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji, the Lord, when he gave darshan to Kardama Muni, it was Narayan or like it was Shiro Daksha Vishnu, like?
It was Narayan. is actually an incarnation of the Lord. We are hearing that Chaitanya Charitamrita comes, incarnation for Sati Yoga, who comes to teach austerity. He has a name also, which is mentioned Chaitanya Charitamrita, but not in Bhagavatam.
Yeah, so the last session when we were explaining that every yuga had, so that avatar, like that was in Narayana avatar.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's my understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, I think we'll end here. Happy Sakti Laikadashi to all of you. Vanchakalpatarujasya Kripasamrita Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
Prabhuji.
much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Very grateful. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Dandavat
Thank
Pranam.
you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Bye-bye.
Krishna.